Yeah, that's us.
Oh, okay.
I'm Catholic.
Ah,
Yo,
oh.
I'm Catholic.
You can you cut that out or no?
All right, I'm trying. Okay. All
No,
right.
I meant like when you repost this, cut that part out.
I
What do
don't
you mean?
think I can. I don't think I can. But it's the authenticity of it. So it is
Yeah,
what it
that's
is.
true. You said that.
So we're gonna wait about.
Yeah, I was gonna say turn that down.
Is that you or me?
That's probably you. Are you on your computer as like a participant? Mute your computer. Like you know how
My
like
computer.
okay.
No, my computer is on mute.
Oh, so then it's the sound from your phone then that's going on the computer.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, it sounds delayed. Unless you mute your phone. But how do you do that?
I, I don't think that's what the issue is. What about now?
Hello?
Yeah.
Do you hear
Testing,
anything?
testing. I mean, no, I don't think so.
I mean, on my end, I hear something. Yeah, I can hear myself too.
I don't really know what that is, though. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the part about this technology. This is my first time on these live, so um,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, see, I had muted
Yeah,
my
yeah.
microphone to see.
You know what this feels like? This feels like verses when they was trying.
Oh,
This feels like verses when they were trying to get the sound right. Okay.
all right, we gotta stop playing because I seen it said two additional folks on here. People are
Okay.
starting to
So,
come in the room. Okay.
but I'm also trying to figure out how do we view the things. Okay, whatever. I'll just figure it out later. So, hey y'all, welcome into our live. Basically tonight our topic is about cultivating self love and self care. And so I have Miracle here with me, who's my best friend. And we've decided that we were gonna get on here and do these lives and talk about various different topics. This is something that we've been trying to plan for the longest of time, but we just hadn't gotten around to it, and we're finally, taking a step and actually starting. So this basically is the introduction to that. So tonight we'll be talking about self care and self love. I am a life coach, and she is a licensed therapist. I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself, and then we can get into our next thing.
Well, hello, everybody. Like she said, I'm Miracle. For those of you who don't know me, I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor. Right now, I am practicing in North Carolina. Um, and yeah, we have been trying to do something similar to this or equivalent to this to really just, come online to kind of share our perspective and thoughts on different topics. Um, because we be having because we have had
Yeah.
we have had some deep and good and stimulating conversations, and so we wanted to
Uh-huh.
share it with you all. So like
Yeah.
she said, tonight we will be talking about cultivating self-care and self-love.
Okay, I like that. Do a little. You feel me? All right, let me. Okay. So basically, I wanted to do this too because me and Miracle, like she said, we talk about these conversations all the time. But little do she know, pretty much she was like my first therapist. So she helped me become self aware as a friend. And she would just ask me certain questions sometimes. And I'll be like, Miracle, like, I don't have the answer to these questions. But at the same time, it just made me stretch myself to really be like, okay, let me ask myself these questions or let me figure out the answer to this because at certain times I didn't know. So I really felt like when she did ask me that, I felt hit. Like I felt like I didn't know myself. So she definitely, helped me in that area as a friend. So I just want to thank you because, you
You're
helped me.
welcome.
But so we're gonna get into basically these questions. So what would you say the difference is between self care and self love?
Well, I actually feel like there is no difference, right? So to care for yourself is to
Hmm.
love yourself, right? And
Hmm.
if you love yourself, you will care for yourself. So I think that they're two in the same.
Okay. So I always had the idea that they were different. Just because I mean, when I think of self care, I think of like get my hair done, get my nails done, get a massage. Like I think of those type of things. I didn't necessarily think of self care as that. And then when I associated self love, I thought of like how do I pour back into myself. So it's cool that you like say that it's just one way, like it's just self care basically.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good point that you make about, the outer appearance versus the inner self, right? Because self-care is any activity that you do to deliberately improve your emotional, mental, and physical health.
Hmm.
And good self-care reduces stress and anxiety and really helps strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself
Hmm.
and with others.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, where would you say we first learn self care?
Mm. Yeah, self-care is really by the people around you.
Okay.
So that may be our parents, the people that raised us or help guide us throughout life. It could also be our peers, our friends that we see how they take care of themselves, and then that trickles down to the messages that we receive about how we should take care of ourselves. Sometimes they're
Hmm.
good messages, and sometimes they're not so good.
Hmm. I would agree with that. Yeah, it was a struggle for me to learn. Like, not to learn, but really learn how to love myself. Because, like I said, I associated it with, the exterior and not paying
Yeah.
attention to the interior. The interior. So basically, figuring out what that was for me was hard. Because it's like, if you're not taught certain things, it could be hard to navigate and learn on your own. Because it's like, dang, like, how do I really get to know myself and what I should be doing for myself? So I definitely agree with you on
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it look like what does self care look like in a person's everyday life?
Yeah, so when I think about self care, I think about five areas of self care. You have
Mhm.
mental slash emotional self care, you have physical self care, you have spiritual self care, you have social self care, and then you
Mhm.
have professional self care.
Okay.
So we would have to kind of break those down a little
I
bit,
was gonna
right?
say, yeah, we gotta break all of those down. Like I think
Yeah, yeah.
all of because the people need to know too, like what all of them are.
Yeah, so okay, let's start with physical self care.
Hmm.
That is the connection that you have to your body, right? Are you caring for your body? So when trying to assess if you have good physical self-care, you may want to ask yourself, am I eating, or am I getting enough sleep? Am I is my diet one that fuels my body and gives the things that it needs?
Hmm.
um am I making scheduled doctor's appointments? am I getting enough physical activity, right?
Mhm.
So a person who has good self-care or is practicing good self-care would be hitting those boxes.
Okay. And you said that was physical.
That was physical, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then and physical, of course, I can't forget too about, your hygiene. Kind of some of those maintenance and grooming things that we talked about when you were saying about the outer appearance, those would fall in physical self-care as well.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Then we have mental/emotional self-care. That is, really focusing on that inner dialogue, right? Like, do I have positive inner dialogue or positive self-talk?
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing things that I guess make me feel good? Am I aware of my emotions? Am I emotionally intelligent, right? Do I express my emotions in a healthy way? And am I being proactive in that area?
Okay.
Yeah.
And repeat which one that was for them to know again.
That was mental/emotional self-care.
Okay.
Yeah. Next we have social self-care, right? And so everybody's social meter is different, right? So that, well, in general, all of these are going to look different for different people. But social self-care is, do I have friends that I can trust and confide in? Do I have people that I can share things with and discuss things with? Am I getting enough face-to-face time with people, as far as like actually hanging out, actually socializing?
Mm-hmm.
um and then, like, what am I doing to nurture my relationships with my friends and family?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So those would be some questions that you would want to ask yourself if you're trying to figure out, am I practicing enough social self-care?
Okay. So I've had some problems in that area before. Just because I don't know if somebody else experienced this before, but basically isolating myself but thinking that that's self care.
Yeah.
Can you explain to the people a little bit more what would that look like and what does that mean when you're doing that and how that affects you?
So I think that it really comes down to
They're,
a
they're
balance.
saying they're saying that our sound is breaking up. I don't really know how to fix it, y'all, because I'm new to this, not true to this. like
I was about to
I
say.
like I don't know how to fix it.
Oh,
If anybody knows and got some experience, please drop a comment down below. Cause baby, I don't know.
okay, y'all bear with us. um what was I saying? Oh,
It,
it's my sound. Oh, that's not good. Let me see.
do you got your phone propped up on something? Cause maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, my laptop.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Let me try to put that down there. What about now? Is that better?
Please thumbs up this video. Please thumbs it up. Y'all know YouTube and their algorithm, so don't give us that.
Is that better, y'all?
Yeah, that's better. I can definitely tell the difference.
Okay. All right, we back in business.
Okay.
So, can you repeat the question, please?
So I was basically talking about like me personally when I would basically isolate myself thinking that it was self care. And I'm pretty sure there's some other people out there that, do the same thing that's thinking like, I'm practicing it's okay to have a long time, but neglecting yourself and not giving your can can you hear me? It's like pause. We back. Okay, what was the last thing you heard? Yeah, but your screen is like pausing.
I was about to say, yeah, you were breaking up just a few
Okay,
minutes
what
ago.
was the last thing you heard?
So I can't recall, but let me repeat it back to you. So you were saying, like, you have experienced that, and you have practiced or did isolate from others.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'm frozen. Queen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's just funny how this thing is like, I don't know. It's trying to sabotage us tonight. We just trying to get through this live, y'all. Hold up. Mm-hmm. It's pausing. Yeah, it's still pausing. Is it your Wi-Fi? Is it the Wi-Fi? What is it? I say that you should disconnect and then rejoin. I don't know if that be a thing. What'd you say? I think next time we should just do this on Instagram live. 'Cause YouTube live is kind of blowing me. Is it a way for you to disconnect and come back? Okay. All right, y'all. Bear with us 1 second. I apologize for the technical difficulties. This is what happens when you trying to be great. You feel me? Hey. Okay, hold on. I'm adding her back. All right, Miracle. Okay. Thank God. Amen. Please stay with us. All right. I think we good.
I can't hear you good. It's breaking up.
Can you hear me? No? Is it your Wi-Fi connection? Yeah, is it your Wi-Fi connection? Huh? Is it your connection, your Wi-Fi connection?
Is that just on my?
What's the feedback? You talking about the huh? No, I don't hear no static. Not over here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Extroverts and are introverts. And a person who is introverted may actually have to recharge by getting some time by
Mm-hmm.
themselves. An extrovert might recharge by being around other
Mm-hmm.
people. But I guess it really stems down to, could you tell me more about why were you isolated?
I think for one, I was more introverted, but the thing is, I think that if you don't really know how to have true connections with people, then you can tend to isolate too much. It can be an excessive amount of isolation, and then you don't really know how to stimulate those social relationships. So you're not really getting the self care you need in your social area, is what I'm saying. It's I just gotta laugh. Lord, please help us. We just trying to get through this.
What were you trying
Like
to say?
we trying to have a serious conversation, and then all of a sudden it want to do all of this. We ain't got time for that.
No, we don't. Lord
All right,
no.
fix it, Jesus, fix it like you said you would. Okay, all right. Okay, so we was on social. So you got anything else to add to social self care?
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, all right. So you talked about uh, let me get it right. It was the mental, it was the physical, it was the social. So now we at four.
Okay, yes. So the next one would be spiritual self care.
Uh huh.
And spiritual self care doesn't necessarily mean religion, right?
Mhm.
Or have to mean, what you practice or what you believe in, although it can. It
Mhm.
can mean, you focusing on a higher being. It can also be about how you're connecting to yourself, how you're connecting to nature.
Okay.
Um, you may want to ask yourself, as it pertains to spiritual self care, am I, how do I feel? Like, in my hearts of hearts, what are my desires, and are my goals, are they being accomplished?
Mhm.
um Again, it kind of falls into that emotional piece as well, about, do I feel like I can express myself in a healthy way? um do I have positive thoughts about myself, right,
Mhm.
and about my abilities as well?
Hmm. I think that could be hard for some people, like especially when you experience certain things, that inner dialogue that you have with yourself is kind of hard to sift through, because it's always like I feel like thoughts are like popcorn. So like you get one negative thought, it's just like a spiral of them. Like it's like, especially if you that type of person. So it's like
Yeah.
pop, pop, pop. Like the negative thoughts is just ringing, So that's kind of what would you say like is the not I wouldn't say like I'm trying to see how to phrase this question. I guess like how to have more control over that in a way, although you can't really have control, but how would you alleviate some of those thoughts and, able to care for yourself in that area?
Yeah, well, I think the best practice, or some of the things you could do, right, would be to practice reframing your thoughts,
Okay.
right? So instead of saying, I'm stupid, I'm never gonna accomplish anything, nothing never goes good in my life,
Hmm.
reframing those thoughts to, although I've made mistakes, week, I can still accomplish my goals, right? Although I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, I am working towards and learning how to do it. So really framing those thoughts, practicing mindfulness meditation, right? So mindfulness is all about being in the present moment. It's about acceptance and non-judgment of yourself. And so practicing those things, I think, can help a lot with trying to minimize those negative thoughts.
Okay, I like that approach. I kind of use something similar when I got the thoughts running.
Oh, that's good, friend. Keep it up.
Yeah, I be doing good or whatever. I be trying to stop the popcorn. Like, nah, you won't be doing that today, okay?
Yes, and then like again, back to the positive self talk. Like you gotta talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Like I tell myself, like Miracle, you're tripping. Like let's pull it back. Let's pull it back. You
Yeah.
don't want to allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
also comes back to knowing thyself. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Okay. It was something I was gonna add to that, but I just lost it. Um. Okay, so we were on. Did we get to 5 yet, or this is gonna be 5?
So this is the fifth one,
Okay. All right.
which would be professional self care.
Mm-hmm.
And with professional self care, you really are doing some of those other things that pertains into those other areas. But I think the overall thing that you want to be intentional about is boundaries. So with professional self care, are you practicing healthy boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Are you in a profession or job or occupation that you love, right? Or is this just something that you're doing for the meantime and between time because you got to get the bills paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you feel about your workplace, right? Do you feel appreciated there? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel welcomed? How do you like your workspace and area? So all of those things are things you may want to consider or questions you may want to ask yourself when you're considering, am I practicing healthy professional self-care?
Mhm. Okay, yeah, this is an area that I definitely had to hone in on and be like, what are you doing? Because, working in TV and film in the industry I work in, it was a lot of, especially when I first got into the role that I was doing, it was me people pleasing basically and not stopping to eat and not taking care of myself, not saying no to things that I knew that was impossible. Like, I feel like my job was, they kind of want you to be a magician in a way sometimes. So I'm thinking, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done, but not stopping and basically taking care of myself. So I completely understand, like, now that looking back at it, I kind of had to go through that in order to see, like, no, like, you do need to take care of yourself in this area and not, be letting yourself go or not, what I'm saying, focusing on this area of your life because I experienced burnout from that, like that was hard for me. That was hard for me to come back. So if you're not taking care of yourself and you so focused on work and the people pleasing part of it and trying to do, you know what I'm saying? Because you human, so you gonna make mistakes. You gonna do certain things like being hard on yourself. That negative self talk you talk about. Those are things that I really had to focus on, and that's hard for some people to understand. So I'm glad you get on that.
Yeah, and another thing, just to add to that, because you said both, right? Another big thing with professional self care is, am I bringing my work home with me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, every job is different and every career path is different. But if you are bringing your work home with you, right? There's no things like that, or but you're too busy on the phone or you're too busy checking emails. Even if
It's freezing.
It's,
It's freezing again.
it's freezing?
Yeah, okay, now you back.
Okay. What's the last thing you heard?
Single people.
And even if you're single, right, and you don't have kids and a family, it's okay to leave work at work and be about not bringing it home.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
even when I was in, the sound still breaking up. We're gonna just try to push through. I don't even know. I'm saved alive, but I just know it's gonna be a little. But we gonna get it right next time. You know, this is our first time, and we just trying to. I guess the Lord said we got to go through this today, so we know how to prepare for the next time. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue to push through. I was gonna add something to that. So you talked about setting boundaries, but yes, we have to set boundaries in our professional life, but talk about too of setting those boundaries in your, personal life with your friends, your family, your romantic relationships, and how that self care as well.
Yeah. So setting boundaries, setting healthy boundaries is 100% self care. That may look and sound like, no, I'm not able to do that. Thank you for the invitation, but I'm not available. No, that doesn't work for my schedule. But here's what we can do instead. So that's what setting.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're going, so that may not be received by the people who's used to our yeses.
Okay. You kind of broke up a little bit there, so I don't know if like the people actually heard all of what you said. But we gonna keep on pushing through because we got like a bunch of other questions.
Okay. So is you want to
Okay. Mhm. Mhm.
it's okay to say, I really wish I could, but today I'm not able.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I ain't able today. All right. So, that was 5. So, could you do a recap on what the 5 types of self care is? Mhm.
Mental slash
Mhm.
social self care, spiritual self care, and professional self care.
Okay. All right. So I hope y'all got that. The 5 types of self care. So, how often, how often would you say a person should practice self care?
Practicing self care should be something that you do daily.
Mhm.
And it should be something that you plan to do as opposed to something that just happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How can self care help you show up and be your best self for others in your personal or professional life? Or how does self love and self care relate to healthy relationships with others?
Well, so kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, is that, you can't pour into others if you're pouring from an empty cup, right? So you have to pour into yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you are pouring into yourself, have all the physical, the mental, the emotional, social down pat, then
Mm-hmm.
you'll be better able to show up for other people.
Right. I would agree with that. Yeah. You can't pour from no empty cup. For sure,
because you're gonna be burnt out.
you're gonna be burned out. That you will be. Okay. So how does a person know when they are not practicing enough self care?
They'll be burnt out.
Yeah,
They'll
that
be tired.
I was burnt out. I was depressed. I remember calling my mama and she was like, "I ain't never seen you like this." She in
Yeah.
it. But I was just like, what's going on with me? Like I was just experiencing something that I never experienced before, and I didn't know at the time that was the name for it. So to be able to put a name to it was just like, okay, this is basically what I experienced. Um,
And you shared that you were burnt out and you were depressed.
mhm,
Some
mhm.
care and can be like the root cause of why you're falling off
Mhm.
with your
I would
self-care.
agree with that because it was so much working, like working 12 plus hours a day, plus not taking care of myself. Like I wasn't, really going out with friends. So I'm not fulfilling that social aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wanted to date, but I wasn't able to date people because I'm working all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just certain things that I wasn't able to do, or even when it is a Saturday morning and I want to go and I want to work out or whatever, I'm not even able to do that because I'm not able to work out
Yeah.
during the week. You know what I'm saying? It's get up, put your clothes on, brush your teeth. You know what I'm saying? Well, not in that order because that's the wrong order. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you just getting up. At this point, you on autopilot. You just getting up like a zombie, just. And it's like, dang, you're not even stopping to take care of yourself because you too busy thinking about work, 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 work. When it's like, where does my me time come in?
Yeah. And I think that too sounds like a lack of life balance. That you were
Mhm,
experiencing a lack of life balance, that
mhm.
your professional really was like the center part, right? And
Right.
it was the main focus and everything else kind of fell off because of that.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. Okay. So, is there such thing as too much self care?
I don't think that there's a such thing as too much self-care as there is
Mm-hmm.
because you definitely should be caring for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want it to turn into,
Mm-hmm.
does that make sense?
Expand on that a little bit.
So if somebody's saying, oh well, I'm not going into work today because I need a self-care day, or I need a mental health
Mm-hmm.
mental, what's really going on? Is it that you're truly struggling? Because if so, that may mean you need to seek a professional. Or
Mm-hmm.
are you just getting too comfortable? Are
Mm-hmm.
you avoiding? Are you not holding yourself accountable?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can see that because I feel like a lot of that happens to a lot of celebrities too nowadays. Like, not saying that I know they like, but I just feel like nowadays it'd be like everybody try to put everything on mental health, and it's just kind of like, okay, are you doing that because that's what's real, or are you doing that is because it's a trend? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
And definitely have one if it's what you need,
Uh huh.
but being intentional about it.
Right. I would agree with that. Okay. So, you being a therapist, um, how do you work to ensure that you show up, for your clients, even when or if you might not feel like, because you human too. So, how do
Yeah,
you with
that's a
all
good
the dumb
question.
things?
Well, for one, I try to practice self care myself.
Mm-hmm.
I try to have healthy and maintain healthy boundaries myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think out of it all, what I really try to do is just communicate with my clients. If I've had sessions back to back,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm running behind, saying, "Hey, I'm running a little behind schedule today. Can you give me 5 minutes, or can you give me 10 minutes?" Or if it's been such a busy and hectic day, and I haven't eaten anything, and it's now 5 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
I might grab me a little snack and bring it to clients. That's fine. If I'm to them, like I said, when I'm falling behind schedule, can you hear me?
Yeah, it came back now.
Okay, yeah. So keeping it real, communicating when I'm falling behind schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
and trying to practice self care
Okay.
myself.
This was a great conversation.
I mean, it would
It
have
would have
been
been
better
better.
had the tech.
Yeah, it would have been. I thought it was out of Mercury retrograde, whatever people say, because they said that the technology was being affected by that. So, but they did say that it was a shadow period for 2 weeks. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the shadow period that's trying to sabotage us tonight.
Maybe so.
But it is what it is. We'll get it right, and then it'll just all work itself out. So we talked about, what's the difference between self care and self love? Where did we first learn self care? What does it like in a person's everyday life? So we talk about the 5 different types of self care. How often should a person practice self care? How can you show up in your relationships, personal or professional life? And how does self care relate to healthy relationships with others? How does a person know when they are not practicing enough self care? Is there such thing as too much self care? And then Miracle went over how she stays sane with also dealing with her own personal problems as being a therapist. So, if you all want more tips on mental wellness, feel free to follow Miracle on her Instagram, and you go ahead and tell the people where they can follow you at.
Yes, you can follow me at miracle_c.b. So that's
Mm-hmm.
miracle with the Y.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like to post things in regards to mental wellness. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been so consistent, but that's gonna change. And yeah, guys, tune in and check out what tips you guys can all get in regards to staying mentally well.
Okay. Um, and so I pretty much just want to encourage everybody on here today to basically prioritize yourself, put yourself first, do things that you need to do in order to have great self care in all the areas of your life, not just one, but finding balance and being able to focus on different areas. So it takes baby steps sometimes. If it's new to you, sometimes you can just, all right, I'm gonna do this today, but just take baby steps in order to practice, these strategies and tips that basically Miracle gave us today. Um, and I basically want to thank you, Miracle, for coming on the live today.
Thank you for
But
having me.
basically, this is the start of our journey. So I just want to go ahead and pat yourself on the back. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we've been talking about doing this for so long, and just to put it into action and actually do it, and that's what it's about. Like just getting started, and we hear that all the time, but we could procrastinate so much, or think that something has to be super perfect before we start. But I
Right.
just want to take the time out to just give us our props for just being able and, getting the courage and the confidence to get on here today, because it's a lot of people that still, you know, trying to be like, I gotta figure this out. I gotta get a camera. I gotta write a script. I gotta do all these things.
Right.
But, instead of putting it off, you're actually getting to the work. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
thank you for coming on this live. I thank everybody else for joining in today, for tuning in. We'll be back with more topics. And hope y'all tune in to us the next time. And if y'all got any questions for Miracle, feel free to go ahead and drop them right now. And then we'll end the night.
Friend, I think somebody else left.
Yeah, I think it is. Well, hey, friend. So, some of the stuff back, because this is what's gonna keep us going. Is the comments, you know what I'm saying? The people.
Right. I appreciate all the
So
love.
I'm gonna read some of the comments and the words of encouragement that people put in here today. Okay. Um. Good, y'all figured it out. Good job. Blessings. Keep going, ladies. Don't stop. Keep going. You're doing great. Sounds good. Awesome. I'm so proud of y'all. That's why we do it.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you, friend. And you got any comments that you want to make?
No, just I mean, thank you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Sorry again that you weren't able to hear me as clearly. I'm a log off now. Bye.
All right, I'll talk to you later.